Hey everyone, I'm Steve. Welcome back to Kettle Haven Ranch. Today my boots are doing the intro. I am standing on probably the second worst conditions during the winter to be walking on. It's a sheet of ice with a light layer of snow on top. In today's video, we're going to look at footwear for these conditions, also any accessories such as the trek poles and, whoops, without falling over, the cleats that I have on the bottom of my boots. To best show this, we're going to go back into the studio where I have a little more control. Plus, I can take these bad boys off and show them to you up close and personal. Alrighty, got set up inside. We're going to talk about two different styles of boots now. The first one being the Danner lace-up winter boot, insulated, waterproof, nice boot there. And then the second one being the Arctic Sport. That's by Muck boot. These ones are well used, as you can see. We'll be talking about these two boots, the pros and minuses between both of them. We're also going to talk about some of the accessories that we're going to be using with the boots. Here's a good example of some cleats that you slip into. The friction of the actual cleat holds it onto the boot. That's great for icy. We're going to talk about snowshoes. We're going to talk about trek poles. All that we're going to try to get covered here in under 10 minutes. Let's see how well I do. I do have a checklist, so I will be referring to that quite a bit. Just like the type of snow that is on the ground can affect the performance of a tractor tire, which I covered in a previous video. I'll put a link towards the end. The same thing applies to your footwear. Going out in a nice winter boot with an aggressive tread is fine in new fallen snow, as long as it's not too deep, as long as it hasn't gone to ice. Of course, if it's powdery, you're going to sink in deeper. If it's wet, you're going to have the opportunity of slipping more. All these factors need to be considered. When we look at the particular boot, it has its own pluses and minuses also. Let's talk about some of those. Now we're specifically going to talk about items in this video. It's not a sales video. I'm not making a commission off that stuff. I do have a link down in the comments. If you want to go to Amazon and see the product, see what prices are, compare, go ahead and do that. We only get pennies off an Amazon sale, so no biggie there. But at least you have access to it to see how you can purchase it. Remember, a lot of these items make real good stocking stuffers. The cleats, the trek poles, those are good pressing. Let's talk about two of my favorite boots. The first one is by Danner. This is a Fort Lewis. It's a lace-up boot. It's insulated with 200 grams. I'm not sure how that plays out, but it is insulated. And it's a good boot with a vibrant sole, dirty vibrant sole, they've been used, and a waterproof upper leather. There's pluses and minuses of this type of boot. I wore this boot for years, and quite honestly, I never had a problem with them because working shift work, you lace them up at the beginning of shift, you wear them for 8 to 10 hours, and then they come off at the end of shift. They're not as easy to use as the other boot we're going to show, which is a slip-on, and I'll become evident in a second. So that's a good option here. The nice bite of the dirty manure-soaked vibrant soles. They do well in the winter snow. Okay on ice. In deep snow, you run the problem, if you don't use gaiters, of having the snow come up over the top and then melting down into your foot. Also, with this style of boot, it's a little bit harder to blouse out. If you want to blouse your pant to keep it out of the snow so that the edge of the bottom of the pant is in here and kept up, that doesn't work as well with this style of boot either. All right, there are some drawbacks. Number one, like I mentioned before, it takes a bit to lace them up and to unlace them to get in and out. So if you're running in and out of the house all day, running in and out of a shop, somewhere where you don't want to be tracking in the aforementioned manure and ice and snow, as in you want to leave it in a mud room or an entryway, This is a harder boot to do, harder one to use, not as a convenient a boot. With this type of boot, avoid tying it around, wringing your leg, pulling it super tight, and tying it up. The reason for this, you can actually damage a nerve. The common peroneal runs down the outside of your calf. It comes out by the knee and runs down to the foot. You can damage that nerve. It's really shallow. I know I'm speaking from experience here because I do have damage after years and years of pulling this tight. The reason why I was pulling it tight is I had a rebuilt ankle trying to support that. Well, don't make that mistake of trying to use a tie-up boot like this as a brace or a splint. Just use them the way they're designed. Tie them up in front, have it a good snug fit, but not an overly tight fit. One of the nice things about the Danner, which I've done on quite a few pairs, if you wear them out, the Vibrant soles, you can have these resoled. So it isn't that hard, it wasn't that expensive. I think the last time I had them done on a set was about 10 years ago, but it was only about 70 bucks. So that was fairly easy to do. You get another Vibrant sole, looks exactly the same, works the same. And if your uppers are in good shape, instead of buying another $300 pair of boots, you can do that and last another 10 years. The other boot we're going to look at, and these ones get used every single day. The Muck style boot, which is a solid rubber along with a neoprene upper above. This boot is a great boot. I love it. I've used these daily, like I said before. Wonderful boot. Let me look at my notes and we'll point out some specifics here. I see I missed something on the Danners. The Danners are good down to about 0 or so, 0 degrees Fahrenheit. With the Muck, this Muck is good, rated by Muck themselves, down to -40. -40 might be a little steep, but I've worn these down to -20 and I've never had cold feet in them. They are an extremely warm boot. The drawback to that, conversely, is they don't breathe well. So, while being completely waterproof, if you wear these day in and day out, over and over, it does build up moisture in the liner on the inside, and you can get a little smell. The tread on these boots, and I'm going to show you these boots, these are 4 years old. That's why they look the way they do. I have hardly any tread left on these at all. I can't have these replaced. It's time for a new pair. I'll be shopping here, hopefully on Christmas, around there, for a new pair of boots. And I will be going with these, and the tread is really nice when you first get it. It's a softer tread. It's not as hard as the Vibrant. If you wear these on any paved areas, they will wear down quicker. The other thing that you want to look into is a boot jack. That really makes it easy to get these boots off. You step into it, and then you can pull your leg out while it holds it. That's where all this scraping up is on the sides. The tread on these boots is excellent. They seem to work very well on ice, as well as you can expect, and very well in the snow. All right, the same thing with the Danner. You get in really deep snow in these, your snow is going to come over the top. And with this style, it's very easy to blouse out your pants, stuff them inside. You have that much height before you have to worry about the snow getting over and getting in. You can wear gaiters with these if you want to go all the way up to the knee, but you're pretty dang close there. Comparing the two, well, we can see which one's going to work better in deeper snow. These ones are going to do a lot better than that. So obviously it's time for a new boot here. These ones don't have much tread, and quite honestly, I didn't even notice it until I started making this video and actually looking at the bottoms. While doing the research on this video, I saw on their website from Muck, they have the Muck Arctic Pro. I'm definitely going to be looking into that one. A little bit heavier, down to -60. Oh, we'll keep you really toasty. Our next topic is our cleats. The cleats themselves come in a whole bunch of different designs. The Yaktrax uses spring around it so it doesn't gouge as much. This particular, the STABILicer, that's a tongue twister, STABILicer cleat, They only run about 30 bucks a pair. Pretty economical. These ones have lasted 2 years now. And they have a heck of a nice little ice cleat there, both in the front and in the rear. These cleats are incredible on ice. Really, really good traction with these. Now, there is slip-on. With the slip-on, and I'll put them on the Muck here. You put the toe on first, and you pull down to the back, and it's almost like a rubber band or a slingshot. Get that over. Sometimes you have to move it over a little bit, like I am right now, to get it all the way on. And there you go. Just that quick, you have the additional traction that is really nice on ice, and also compact snow and ice. You don't use it on a wood floor. Take them off before you go into the house, definitely. Wooden tile, that would not be nice. Okay, when we use them on different size boots, they will fit. And as you can tell, the Fort Lewis here, even though it's a size 10 boot, it is built completely different than the Muck boot. So we'll get this guy stringed all the way on. It's a much easier fit on that boot than on the Muck. And that brings up one problem with at least this brand that I know of. These are the largest ones they make, the extra large. This is only a size 10 boot. If you get up into a size 12, a size 13, you may be able to get them on and off, but I question how long it's going to last with that additional stretching them on and over the boot. So something to consider there. The next thing we'll talk about is the trek pole. I have been using the TrailBuddy, which is collapsible very easily, I might add, and it has a little ice spike on the bottom of it. That is great when you're walking across ice. It gives you a lot of support and stability, especially if for some reason your cleats aren't working well, if they're gummed up, or if you just don't have cleats on your boots. This really helps a lot keeping you on your feet. They're not that expensive, quite honestly. Okay, with snowshoes, we could talk a whole hour on them, and it'd be boring, quite honestly. In a nutshell, the size of the snowshoe, what you want to look for is dependent on how much you weigh, how much your pack is, if you're carrying one, and what type of snow conditions you're expecting to be in. You need the flotation. That's the simplest way to say it. These are large, a 200 pound, yeah, maybe 220, 220 pound individual like myself on a powdery snow. I'll still sink in a good 6 inches before I get enough flotation. Going any bigger, it's really hard to move in them. So this is about the biggest size. If you go to some of the sports stores, you'll see these small little, maybe half this size, and they'll advertise it for a 200 pound male. Now, they might have that additional little wing you can put on the back of it, but a smaller snowshoe, you're going to sink in further and further. And at some point, it's not going to be worth wearing them. You have to walk bull-legged in them, and they take a lot more effort to cover ground. Now, if you're looking for a workout, there you go. Well, I hope in this video I've answered some questions that you might have had about walking in the winter wonderland. Oh, that was corny. But if you enjoyed this video, if you found some value, please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell for future videos. And I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. And it's the holiday season. So let's say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and take care.